Alright, hi guys. My name is Alicia.
I'm Jennifer.
I'm Henry.
Patrick. Jim.
And our presentation is Vale into Canada. And to begin, I just want to say that our assignment wasn't a traditional one in that the nature of our company is very different from all of the other ones because our company doesn't have a product that sells something normal like soda or clothing. We sell rocks. So, given the nature of that, we had to develop a marketing plan very specific to Canada, and we actually ended up targeting the Canadian government as opposed to your normal consumer. Okay, so as I mentioned, Vale's a mining and metals company. The company produces iron ore pellets, manganese ore, ferroalloys, bauxite, kaolin, alumina, aluminum, coal, copper, potash, cobalt, platinum metals, and other products that I struggle to pronounce. Continue. So through Vale Australia, which operates coal assets through wholly owned subsidiaries and unincorporated joint ventures, Vale produces thermal and metallurgical coal. Vale produces thermal coal in the Cesar Department of Columbia through its subsidiary, Vale Columbia. Operating its logistical systems, including railroads and maritime terminals and a port in Brazil, Vale integrates its mining operations. So the company also has investments in energy and steel businesses with its direct and joint ventures. Vale's wholly owned subsidiary, Vale Inco, conducts the company's principal nickel mines and processing operations, which are located in Canada, Indonesia, and New Caledonia. And Vale owns and operates nickel refining facilities in the UK, Japan, Taiwan, China, and South Korea. Vale made the biggest annual net profit in the history of the mining industry at $17 billion, and they achieved record operating revenue, operating margin, operating profit, cash flow, and net profit this year. So that's an introduction to our company.
To be focusing on Canada specifically, as the other group mentioned, I don't want to repeat it again, but just an overview. Canada is it's one of the freest economy in the world. They're culturally very integrated with the United States, and the U.S. is their largest trading partner, taking 75% of their exports. The Canadian government greatly encourages foreign direct investments, and like all developed countries, their economy is mainly focused on the services industry. However, primary industries such as mining and oil still makes is very crucial in the economy because that's what actually got Canada away from the recession compared to a lot of countries faster and it recovered much better than other countries. Canadian dollar, as we all know, is very strong, fully convertible. Free float. Historically, it is lower and priced less than the U.S. dollar. However, in recent years, due to the dollar's weakness, the Canadian dollar is pretty much on parity. And the mineral regulations of Canada, so we said, because we're focusing our customer mainly toward the Canadian government, and the reason why is that in order to expand in Canada, government support is critical since all mineral licenses and all the mines in Canada are technically owned by the government, and the mining companies are simply leasing it or doing it or mining the contracts as a concession. And so therefore, like I said, good government relations is critical. The Canadian government recently, through Natural Resources Canada, which is the primary agency responsible for the regulation of mining and oil industries, proposed this list of proposals that every single mining company needs to adhere by in order to mine in Canada and possibly renew their license. First of all, they believe that mining, clean water, and a healthy ecosystem can survive together, and they're interchangeable. Which to a lot of people, you might think, why is that? Primarily, mining uses a lot of water, so replacing water with chemicals is one of the most critical steps in achieving this process. And a lot of people might argue, injecting chemicals into the ground is horrible for the environment. Why would you do that? Most chemicals developed by the Canadian Academy of Science and the Canadian mining companies are using biochemicals that are not as harmful to the environment as you think. And second of all, waste management. All the waste from the mines needs to be reprocessed, reused, and possibly for the parts that can't be reused must be properly stored and disposed of. And finally, when the mine closes, the area around the mines must be cleaned up properly.
So I did the target market segment, and Vale offers two major products, which is metals, and the other one is potash for Canada. And the two industries that Vale will target will be the manufacturing industry and the agriculture industry. Alright. The buyers in the manufacturing industry are firms in the automobile, aerospace, construction, equipment, and engineering fields. And these companies will need the products that Vale offers if they want to stay afloat, because they need the metals in order to produce their own products. And so although there is a lot of competition in Canada for the manufacturing industry, we believe that once Vale can wedge its way into Canada, it will be successful. Okay, and then the Canadian manufacturing industry is very profitable. In 2010, the industry was worth $159,528 million, and the construction industry was worth $73,852 million. So it produces a lot of revenue, but the more optimistic thing is that in January 2011, they have seen increases in sales even more. So we're hoping that the manufacturing industry will be an important segment and that it will be very profitable. In addition, the areas that were highly successful and that attributes to the increase in sales was the transportation equipment sector, and this area consists of motor vehicle parts and aerospace products and parts. For potash, we would be targeting the agriculture industry, and the buyers in this industry are farming and fertilizer and food industries. And then we believe that demand for potash is increasing due to the growing populations in Asia, India, and Latin America. There is limited land, but population is increasing, so people will need potash in order to take advantage of the limited amounts of land that we do have. In addition, there is improving standard of living globally, so more people are able to afford meat and dairy products in their diets, which is why potash is also increasing. And China and India will be our major exporter customers because they account for more than 1/3 of the world's population, and these areas are highly in demand of potash in order to feed the people. And right now, in 2010, potash was exported 8 million tons into Canada and into China, but in 2011 it's predicted to be 11 million tons. So you can see that demand is gradually increasing more and more, and so we're hoping to target China and India specifically because these areas really need the potash.
And just to clarify to everyone that we're emphasizing so much on potash specifically because other minerals such as gold and silver and even diamonds, a lot of other countries have large deposits of it, even though they might not be developed. However, potash is one of those minerals that only Canada and Morocco have a commercial amount, enough of amount that it's commercially sustainable to develop. And so that's specifically toward Canada, and the prices are going up. So that's the only and one of the best products that have catering to the specifically toward the Canadian market.
The mining industry for metals is a mature market, and we have already noticed that. There's a lot of competitors, so Vale really needs to. Oh, okay. All right. So mining for metals is a mature market, and mining for potash is a growing market with a lot of potential due to the increasing demand for potash. And so for metals, since the market is mature, there are many existing customers, and Vale will need to specifically attract the Canadian government by, as Henry mentioned earlier, by marketing an environmentally safe approach. And we're going to try to invest in a lot of research and development to acquire green techniques and machinery. The manufacturing costs and operation costs will be low. We're trying to keep them low so that we can offer our customers low prices. And we hope to do this by adapting a vertical integration approach. And in this way, we'll own all the mines, the transportation systems, including the railway system, the trucks, and the facilities, and all the machines, just all the assets necessary for operation in order to keep costs low. And we're going to do the same thing for potash as well. We're going to try to own everything so that we can keep operation costs low. Okay.
Yeah, back onto the marketing mix. When actually coming up with a program to promote this company, again, rather than market to actual consumers, we're marketing our services to actual businesses and government regulators. You can't go to Walmart and buy precious minerals or potash. And then to accomplish this, I mean, it's really all about Vale highlighting the impact of what these minerals will bring to the governments, to farmers. That's mostly the influence of potash, which is a fertilizer. And again, with going into Canada, green business factors are extremely important, sustainability and the environment. And then in turn, Vale's looking to completely revolutionize the Canadian mining industry by basically creating a sustainable network and taking over the majority of the market share, and in turn, taking over the majority of the distribution system. So once again, environmentally safe practices and equipment, like Henry mentioned with the chemicals, and also there are new greener drills coming out that have fewer emissions, even electric equipment, so it's not as much of a gas guzzler. And then Vale will also want to utilize labor opportunities in Canada. In order to appeal to the Canadian government, you need some kind of leverage. And Canada already has a lower employment rate than the U.S. and a long history of job creation. Just an example is in 2003, the Canadian government created 560,000 new jobs for its people. So this is obviously something that's very central to their values. Now, Vale mines for precious metals against the world and also has experience in mining potash already in Brazil. Now, this is currently the only plant in which Vale already mines potash. They'll have to probably bring in managers from this unit to start the initial operations in Canada, and then from there utilize these Canadian workers we talked about in the previous slide to revolutionize this mine. As for the actual price, of course Vale will endure high overhead costs when it comes to the initial pricing of all their equipment, especially low emission drills and all these green equipments they're investing in are more expensive than the standard mining equipment. And they will also endure high labor costs because in their mines in Brazil and in South America, there aren't really the fair labor regulations that exist in Canada. So. And then as far as the actual minerals they're being producing and how that affects Vale, I mean the prices of all these metals and potash are very volatile. I mean it's all up to supply and demand. But as a leading competitor, Vale will be able to establish market control and at least have a significant influence on the price. And this little picture right here is a projection Vale stock price in considering the projected prices of potash for the future. And it's basically a group of analysts basically came up with their numbers of what they see happening in the next 12 months. And as you can see, the lowest predictions were just pretty much for the stock to stay stagnant. So, I mean, there's a lot of faith that the price of potash is only going up, especially because it's a fertilizer that's becoming to be utilized more and more. And with Canada as one of the leading resources of potash, it's very important to Vale.
All right, when talking about distribution, when Vale went into Canada in 2006 and took over Inco, they also took over Inco's mining centers and distribution channels that they already had. So it's not like you have to build from the ground up. We already have these existing distribution channels. And because Canada has a top 10 GDP, they're a very advanced country. They have a great infrastructure already, so there's not much work needs to be done to develop that. All we can really do is, while we expand our operations in mining and expand into potash, we can also expand our mining centers and just upgrade everything. When talking about going into the potash market, Canada and the US are both two of the world's largest crop producers. Therefore, there's a lot of need for fertilizer, a lot of need for potash. So if you're mining it in Canada, it's a lot easier to sell to Canada than it would be to, say, China, as well as easier to sell to the US because of NAFTA. Makes it easier. And because minerals aren't exactly a luxury item, it's not like you're selling soda, you're selling minerals, there's not a lot of channel motivation that needs to be done. When we talk about promotion, like we've said, I mean, you're not going to see a billboard that says like minerals across it on the highway. You're selling business to business or business to government and on the commodity markets. So it's really a focus on long-term relationships with businesses. And because there's already a large presence by Vale in a lot of foreign countries, they have the expertise within the country to sell to the country. They know the customs, they know the languages. It's definitely a leg up. And moving into potash, potash will be sold to fertilizer plants using a push promotion strategy, focusing on the distributors over the end consumers. And like we've already mentioned, I mean, it's always a good promotion to focus on green business strategies, and because it's just more on the forefront nowadays, it's very important to keep a competitive edge. You should focus on green strategy.
Awesome. All right, so in conclusion, for us to have success in the Canadian market, we have to take a different approach than most multinational companies would take. And we're going to do that by focusing specifically on sustainability issues, adherence to green business practices, and the necessity of the products that their mines produce. That's our presentation.
Okay, thank you.